I thought I smelled zombie takeout.
What's up? Welcome to episode 202 of Zombie Ticket,
Zombie takeout.
the B-movie and cult movie podcast. I'm Uncle John.
And I'm Scotto.
And without any further ado, let's get straight to this week's movie, which is from 1986, Reform School Girls, and of course the impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Shower Scenes. Do I really need to say anything more?
Oh, I was waiting for the tagline. I don't know. And also brought to you by kittens, because apparently they never shit, piss, or go anywhere during the day when left unattended.
They might as well be stuffed animals.
Right. So, wow. How did this miss the Pulitzer?
This is going to be an interesting review, I think.
Well, yeah, how could it not be? But anyway, we have a young woman who I was kind of shocked to see the age when looking at the IMDb section. Surprised no one knocked at my door to take us away.
Really?
They said she was born in 1970.
Oh my.
How is this legal?
Mhm.
Anyway, she is her boyfriend is no good. She's like his getaway driver, and he knocked something over, and they
Mhm.
take off, and somehow she gets caught. I can't even remember how,
Mhm.
but it just went to shit. And because she was so young, she got sentenced to a reform school, which, when doing a movie called Reform School Girls,
Mhm.
you probably should set it in a reform school. Because they send her to straight up women's prison.
Yeah.
And yeah, she arrives at this prison with this other. They don't explain what exactly this other girl did except run away, which
Right.
I wasn't aware you
It was a
could get.
crime. Well, technically it is, but you're not going to go to jail for it.
Right, sent to reform school or jail for running away from your foster parents. But yes, she gets sent there too. It's funny. They're all in like the prison uniforms when they first come in and go through the usual, prison tropes of,
Right.
getting deloused and all that with DDT and whatnot. Um, and then they get taken into the prison. As soon as they get taken to the regulars in the prison, the uniform is, of course, very different into that section.
Yeah.
It's pretty much this whole lingerie fest, with the exception of the girls who have been brought in.
The good
Are
girls.
Yes, they have the regular prison uniforms.
Or variations of them.
So when I say prison, of course, before I they do go through all the things. They're making license plates. Uh, we see our one of our nemesis, one of our antagonists, is doing curls when they first introduce her. I think the only thing they missed was somebody playing a harmonica and somebody doing a tin cup off the bars.
The harmonica, yeah. I was looking for tropes that they might have missed. I only thought of one, but that's another. Yeah, you're right.
Those are the only two I think they
There's
missed
another
out
one
of.
for women in prison movies, but we'll get to that.
Well, yeah, I was just talking
In
prison.
general, yeah.
Right. Women in prison now.
Although not necessarily women in prison if you look at something like Oz, but anyway.
Yeah, there was one very important element missing of of the prison women in prison movie
Yeah.
that I don't know which one of us will be the first to mention it,
Probably me if history is any indication.
but we'll get it. We'll get to it. Um, so the deal is there is the warden of the prison is an evil cunt.
Well, the warden we don't meet until midway through the movie, and she's
We
not
don't meet her in,
necessarily evil.
we don't meet her until like over a half hour in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because she's we meet the I guess the head of security or whatever who
Yeah.
wears a nurse's uniform for some reason.
Hard to really put a title on Edna.
Yeah, she's kind of I don't know. I don't know.
She
She's running the show
Yeah.
really there.
She would be the warden, except they had this other character who was the warden.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense at all. Which, of course, you can't look for anything to
Oh, no,
make
no.
sense of this.
Not the
But
point.
anyway, so yes, the Edna, who is really the warden, who we see from the beginning, meeting the prisoners as soon as they come in, is of course Nurse Ratched. Just, I mean,
Mm.
lay down, even worse, of course, laying down the law, just wanting to make their lives miserable, and our other antagonist, prisoner antagonist, is kind of her pet,
Mhm.
and gets the special treatment.
Played by the late great Wendy O. Williams.
Yes, and then we have this other warden who I don't know, maybe they didn't know they were getting her until halfway in because
Mhm.
she's she's pretty much the women in prison specialist, Sybil Danning.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have her for the entire length of the film. I
I've
don't
got
know.
some trivia on that.
Okay. So yeah, she turns out to be the Palpatine
Mhm.
to Etna's
Yes.
Vader.
Well said.
And there's kind of some I felt there was some homage paid there in there. Maybe not in those direct characters,
Yeah.
but
The archetypes, definitely.
yeah. So, and then there's this one counselor who's trying to get just see what the fuck is going on, help these girls out, and bring the whole thing down and bring it to justice. And they instead, of course, makes their lives even worse. They get forced into hard labor, and
Then even harder labor.
yes, and then even harder labor. The whole, of course, and they also get thrown in isolation too.
But
Anyway, hilarity ensues. Actually, Mad Max ensues.
Sort of.
More than sort of. Are you kidding?
Now, director Tom DeSimone was not overly pleased with his previous women in prison films, Prison Girls and The Concrete Jungle, so he decided to make this film as a spoof of the genre. Very important thing to think of going in. It's a
All right.
parody.
You know what? I went into this expecting a comedy.
Well, it's not exactly a comedy, but it is a parody.
Right.
It's funny in how over the top it is. It's not necessarily played for gags.
Yeah.
But if you look at how arch everything is, particularly the music, and how over the top and by the numbers everything is, that I think is funny.
Yeah, it's very confusing what his tone actually is because
Well, for example, there's a scene right at the beginning when I think Jennifer is her name
yeah.
gets busted. The one who's ended up being the getaway driver.
Yeah.
She crashes the car, face hits the windshield. And then just before the title card, her head comes up. I think they reversed the camera. Or
That's
reversed
right.
the footage.
Yeah. Now, she
And
crashed her car.
head
That
comes
was
back and there's this horrifying look on her face, and then the title card comes up, which was hilarious.
right.
And then the shot of the judge is like straight out of a 50s movie.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting there, and it's like, well, wait a minute, she's just the getaway driver, and it's like her first offense, and they're like ready to throw the book at her and stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, all right,
Because it's a parody.
yeah,
That was the joke. It was a misdemeanor at best, wrong place, wrong time, and they're sending her to straight up prison.
yeah,
And incidentally, I did think it was very nice that they didn't waste any time getting to the nudity. I'd seen the movie before, but it'd been probably 20 years.
yeah,
So I didn't remember specifically what happened. I figured there'd be one token shower scene like midway through the movie. No, within the first 15, you get the shower scene and the delousing scene.
Well, you get the delousing scene first,
Yeah.
right off the bat. I
Mhm.
mean, they waste no time. I mean, there's like the first cat fight is in less than 15 minutes
Yeah.
too. Yeah, no time is wasted by Mr. DeSimone, who was apparently a porn director
Oh, my.
for the most part
Interesting.
before this. Actually, even like during this.
Well, yeah, because his other two Women in Prison movies were 72 and 82.
And let's just say, from what I could understand, there were some varying tastes in his his subject matter.
Ah,
I'm like, I don't see any women in this cast, kind of thing.
he appealed to a wide variety of
Yes, yes,
wide audience.
exactly. Oh, wow. All right.
And the thing about this movie, though, like I said, as long as you know it's a parody, it hits just the right notes. In fact, I think Psycho Beach Party may have been a little inspired by it.
Probably. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I can see that.
This was 86, and that was written in 87. So there's a good chance Bush saw Reform School Girls. It sounds like something Bush would definitely want to see.
Definitely. This sounds like a play that Bush would want to do.
Yeah, yeah. True. I was thinking they maybe miscast Edna a little bit. Um, I was thinking Divine would have been perfect if she did anything other than John Waters movies.
Yeah.
But also Bush would have been great in the role too.
Oh, definitely. In fact, if they ever remake this.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the police officer he played in Psycho Beach Party.
Very much so, yeah.
Also thought the toothbrush razor combo was an interesting weapon. Never seen that before. But it should be pointed out that there was not just one shower scene in this movie.
No.
In like the first half hour, there were two.
Right, right. There are several shots, at least a few in this movie, right? Like
Mhm.
three, I think?
There were just actually, I think it was just those two. I probably would have mentioned it in my notes if there was a.
Okay. I'm thinking of the scenes where they went into the shower for other activities.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, there were a couple more then. You're right. Like there were
Which,
two full-on shower scenes, but there were one or two others where yeah, other things were done in the shower.
which honestly, I guess I'm going to be the first to bring it up
I was just gonna tangent that way too, or segue to that.
because the other activities
Uh-huh.
aren't what you would think they
No,
are.
no.
Instead of getting off, they brand people.
um, yeah.
Yeah.
Incidentally, a prosthetic was used for the branding scene, which is kind of obvious.
No asses were
No,
branded
no,
in the process
because
of
that was
doing this
actual
film.
branding. Now you mentioned the lead actress's age.
Yeah.
On the other end of the spectrum, though apparently playing a teenager, Wendy Williams was 36 when the movie was filmed.
And it was so
Oh yeah, yeah.
obvious. It was ridiculous. But if she was 16, and I guess I can't even complete the sentence. There's no winning here. I, I don't think she was
No,
16.
no,
I think
I
that's fucking
seriously doubt it. I
ridiculous.
think she shaved a couple of years off of her age since the movie
Oh,
was
she
made.
some years. I thought you were going to say something else entirely different.
I think she's probably being a little dishonest about her age now,
Yeah.
and didn't calculate what that implied for earlier in her career.
Well, right. I mean, unless she saw what happened with Tracy Lord
Mhm.
and was trying to get the same treatment to this film
Possibly.
to make it something taken off the shelf that people, would seek. But I mean, I was gonna say if she's 16, I'm the king of Siam, but there is no way that sentence works out for me. When I started,
Very true. Very true.
I just saw like the guy from Dateline NBC's gonna show up to my house and so you were watching Reform School Girls. Like, I didn't know.
Now back to Wendy O for a moment.
Sure.
She apparently refused to wear any outfits that weren't her own for the film, and also refused to take off her boots even for the shower scenes. That had to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, chafing involved there, huh?
Mhm. Now, the thing for me that gives it away as a parody most obviously is the music cues.
I don't know, because this wasn't that out of place for the 80s.
There was a lot of over-the-top music in the 80s, yes, but like the soap opera music during the Icebox story and how melodramatic that was. And there was a lot of other really arch and like overwrought music. Which again, if you go into it looking for a comedy, that fits perfectly.
I did, but I just didn't see it, you know? It just seemed like they were trying to do a serious, over-the-top prison film.
I think because I had read that it definitely was a parody before I watched it, maybe I was a little more prepared.
I mean, I was looking for it.
Because aside from the obvious oversight, it does hit all of the other cliches, except maybe a harmonica. You're right about that. I didn't think about
Yes.
harmonica, but it
Yeah.
hits all of the other cliches directly and kind of ridiculously. Like during the prison riot when Wendy O just runs through with the gun up in the air with a big smile on her face.
The prison riot was just, I mean,
Ridiculous.
it's like they're just breaking shit.
Mhm. And they used a plastic fork when they were kidnapping the one guard.
Yes.
How can that not be comedy?
I don't know.
Because I couldn't tell until later on in the scene. I thought maybe it was a shiv. But then later you get a real close shot and you can see it's a white plastic fork. And they actually get a little blood with it, which I don't think you can do.
Maybe because wasn't watching full screen, it wasn't that obvious.
I don't think I was watching full screen for that either, actually.
Well, because it's YouTube, you know?
Well, no, I was watching maybe the kind of mid-size window.
I
I
mean,
didn't go full screen except for the shower scenes.
that's the thing I could.
Oh, and also Wendy O takes a shot to the chest with a shotgun and gets up and keeps fighting.
Oh, of course.
Again, ridiculous, and clearly showing that they either don't know or don't care how shotguns work.
Well, yeah. Once you get to that last reel, it's just insanity.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
it is a Mad Max film, the last
Ah,
reel.
yeah.
It literally is. The tower, the
Right,
truck,
right.
how the truck is still moving when didn't see what she did to keep it going.
Oh, speaking of Sybil Danning, the question of her involvement, the role of Warden Sutter was originally written for a man. Producers wanted Sybil Danning to play the character Edna, but the director knew that she wouldn't have been good for the role and changed the role of Sutter to a woman so that Sybil could play that role. So she apparently was involved from the beginning.
Huh. So I don't
It was
understand
written
why.
like that.
It was very strange to have, well, this is the villain, but no, that's the villain kind of thing.
Well,
It was
to continue your analogy, we don't meet Palpatine till Empire.
very true. And really, the Star Wars shot I was talking about was the hose down scene in Solitary.
Hmm.
I was kind of expecting the one guard to throw her up the air shaft
Yeah, yeah.
and ask to take her mask off and
No,
see her daughter through her own eyes. But yet the guards never turn in the end.
no.
You kind of expect them to.
That's not a trope in a women in prison movie, though.
No, it isn't.
The guards are always, straight arrows. It's the prisoners who are, dubious. Can be good, can be bad. Everyone working for the prison is very straight, very clear, very, on one side or the other.
Well, except for the
The doctor, which is, I was watching another, or I should say not watching, skimming through another women in prison movie on Netflix today called Jailbait. And they played the doctor trope as well.
huh. Well, yeah, you always have to have something with the doctor.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of the if you want to talk about corrupt people in the prison,
Oh, okay.
the Arnold Horshack or the lead singer from REO Speedwagon, who was
Yeah.
the brief love interest slash bus driver.
The really schlubby looking guy who was supposed to be hot.
Yeah, I was kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah, he shags our lead and then turns her in. But with that scene, the way I see it is there was another half hour left of the movie, so they needed to keep her in prison. They couldn't just, set her loose at that point. And they needed a way to get her back in.
Of course.
So he turned her in.
And you kind of knew, you saw it coming, and they telegraphed it pretty
Well, yeah.
pretty early on.
Yeah.
Also, I have to say there's a first for me here.
Hmm?
I don't think I've heard a non-British person say the word wanker before.
That is true.
It's right up there with hearing
Oh.
Sean Connery say pendejo.
Right. Mhm. Also a first for me, and this is hinting at my rating, but I think you all see this coming. This may be the first movie that I liked when I was younger that we've reviewed that I like when I revisited it. Normally things go downhill for me when I revisit this, like none of the Carpenter movies lived up for me.
Yeah,
It's gonna be the thing.
it's been kind of sad because you have all these movies that you enjoy, and then you're kind of like, wow, what was I thinking?
Mhm. This is the first time it's not only lived up, but I think gotten a little better for me.
Wow, good.
So I'm done with my notes.
I believe I am too. Oh, did she say scumsucker?
Yes.
Now, what was the deal with the dialogue? Because sometimes it was like they forgot they were in a movie where they could say what they wanted to say.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they kept it kind of PG for a movie with two shower scenes.
Well, right, but it moved in and out kind of.
Huh.
They weren't afraid to call someone a cunt,
Yeah, true.
but on the other hand, they would call someone a scum sucker.
Yeah.
It was very schizophrenic. It's kind of, I think it is pretty much the summary of the movie is that it's very, very disjointed. That's the word I keep coming back
Yeah.
to sum it up. Like it really didn't know what it wanted to be
To
in
me,
the
that's
end.
part of its charm. It's so silly and over the top that making it a little, disjointed like that is fun. It just adds to the charm. It's like all of the myriad fails in the room lend to its charm. This is clearly a B movie comedy parody.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was an intention to it or if they.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it was something they were shooting for in the sound of the dialogue or I mean I don't know where they were going with it or
Hmm.
why. What did it accomplish?
See, I didn't really analyze it that deeply. I just had fun with it.
And then the last question, of course, why was Jenny the only one that got to get out?
Well, because the really innocent one had to die.
Well, yeah, the really innocent one died.
Hmm.
Understand that.
Right?
What about all the other prisoners in there?
They're serving their time. Nikki was a lifer
Why was Jenny so special that she got to get out and not other prisoners?
because she was the lead. Well, she was one of the two leads, and the other lead died.
Right.
So
I mean,
she got out.
there's a handful of them that they could have worked out was, well, maybe they shouldn't have their time doubled. Maybe it's time to let them go too.
But that's not the trope. So you have to look at this movie through the trope.
The trope is usually there's an escape and there's a run to freedom.
Well, yeah, and they played with that and they subverted it.
Yeah.
So the other common trope is, all of the shit happens and the lead gets her sentence shortened and gets out.
They never let the person go honestly in the end. It's usually an escape and a run to freedom.
Actually, the other movie I was watching played that exactly the same.
Really, that they got out legitly.
Yeah, yeah. After the whole parole board thing, the whole nine, the sexual abuse by the warden, pretty much exact, except Jailbait did it seriously.
Huh. All right, I think I'm done with my notes now.
All right, on to sequels and remakes. I don't know of any remakes or sequels. I kind of hope there won't be because it's very much a product of its time.
There's no need for it because it's, a formula
Yeah.
that people played with anyway. So
Yeah.
there's no,
There's no need to remake or do sequels to a parody.
yeah, yeah.
I don't think Mel Brooks ever did a sequel.
That's true. Although I always did want to see Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2, or
Or
History of the World
part
Part
one.
2,
Yeah. So
Jews in Space and
Yeah.
all that.
right. So there's no need to remake it, no need to do a sequel.
Nah.
Unless of course Charles Bush wants to take a crack at it.
Yeah, he's the only guy I could see
Yeah.
doing this.
All right, so on to Brains.
On to Brains.
I loved it. A few minor little issues in the lesbian scene. Divine would have been better as Edna, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm going for.
Oh, I mean, there was no lesbian scene. Is that
Well,
what you said?
that's losing half a brain for that.
Okay, just half, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I like the rest. There were two shower scenes. I can't fault it too much.
That's a major women in prison movie sin, I thought. That's at least a break.
Two shower scenes.
True, that is true. And but really, just I don't know why they attempted the story. I mean, that was kind
To
of
make up for his previous movies.
okay. Okay, so that's why he wanted a story. But then if you're gonna do a story, do a story. I mean, if you're gonna go for parody, just let it go. Let it fly.
He should have gone more comedic with it, you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly. And what you get here is this very strange mishmash of you got kind of a soft horror thing, you got kind of a melodrama, kind of a parody, and then the last reel of just absolute
Insanity.
batshit
Yeah,
craziness.
yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna go down the middle. I'm gonna give it 2.5 because I
Okay.
mean it's definitely got its moments. Um, but it also has its like what?
See, I enjoyed this. But anyway, what have we learned?
We learned that the name game doesn't always have a banana in it.
Nice.
Thank you.
And I learned that you could never have too many shower scenes. All right, so until next week, when it will be our 5th anniversary show.
Oh my God.
A couple of days late. We started on the 13th. It'll be the 16th when this goes out, but
Close enough.
yeah, a few days. And we will be reviewing Men at Work. Wow, it must be a documentary. They were my first favorite band as a kid. I'm still a huge fan.
I'm gonna give that improv a golf clap.
Yeah. Of course, we're talking about the Carlos and Emilio Estevez movie.
Yes.
And I have no idea why I remember his real name.
Why not, you know?
Until then, go to zombietakeout.com, check out the album art, the episode description, of course, the episode itself, which you're already listening to. Links to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube. Links to subscribe via RSS and iTunes. Please leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. You'll also find the movie list, every movie we've done so far, and every movie we're going to review. I think we updated up to 210, I believe. Blue Velvet is the latest one that the latest one we've decided on the order of. You'll also find the request form. If you've got a movie you'd like to hear us review, please leave it on the request form. And of course, the recommendations list. I so wanted this to go to the rec list. Oh well. You can also email us, zombietakeout@gmail.com, or leave us a voicemail at 414-368-ZTO1, or for the alphanumerically challenged,
They can go
or
fuck themselves.
414-368-9861.
I think for the recommendation list, we need to keep some room on there for Mannequin because we know that's going on.
Of course, always remember that you'll always be calling from the middle of Milwaukee, and until next time, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there you are.
There you are.
This ain't no joyride, girls.
But anyway, what have we learned?
We learned that the name game doesn't always have a banana in it.
Nice.
Thank you.
We need a moment.
Well, that's our outtake.
Yeah, I think so. And I learned that you can never have too many shower scenes.